People who have signed non-disclosure agreements that have now expired, or for whatever reason are no longer valid, what couldn't you tell us, but now can? Story 1. I've worked with many internet service providers in the past, one of which I'm still under NDA for, but as for the other ones, the equipment replacement fee, divide it by 3. That's how much we paid for the box versus how much we are going to charge you. If you're having an issue or something is broken and you want more money, just escalate the issue about twice for maximum return. Don't go past the supervisor's supervisor, however, because while there may be a level above them still within the call center, if you hit corporate, be prepared because they are not required to be nice. As an example of the above story I tell is an angry lady who was out of service for about 6 hours. She was not happy with our get off our phone offer and escalated again. By so doing, she passed on about $65 worth of credits, 2/3 of her total bill, and a going forward discount on her total bill that would save her about $7 a month for another $80 over the next year. That was not good enough. She escalated past us, and the word came back via email. Her credit for time out of service was instead calculated down to the minute, meaning instead of $65, her new offer was now $1.12, and no discount off the monthly bill. If she attempts to escalate again, I was told to inform her we would take advantage of our service policy and cancel her account. Please return your modem within 30 days or face a $100 replacement charge. Story 2. You could get free satellite TV without any hacking or hardware mods. Call up your Dish or DirecTV phone line and add everything you want to get it. Wait until it all appears on your account and you can watch it, then unplug all the hardware in your system and give them a call back, saying it wasn't you, or you changed your mind, or you only had it for visiting family or whatever. Take it back down to the bare minimum or turn it off completely. Wait at least 24 hours, preferably a good 2 or 3 days. Then plug your crap back in and continue to enjoy everything. This has been known to work for years for a lot of people. Satellite TV is one-way communication, so the only way they update your programming authorizations is to send a signal to your specific hardware. Sending satellite signals for single customers is expensive, so they don't keep doing it. When your system gets the update to turn on all the channels, it sticks until you make a change. All you have to do is skip that downgrade signal. Holy crap, this can't be real. Story 3. My boss got drunk at a conference and tried to get in my hotel bed. She forced me to share a room with her and declared our room pants-free after 9 p.m. She got drunk at a baseball game and tried to switch shirts with me in front of coworkers and clients, and when I quit because of it, she left me a message saying, "You're just a 22-year-old little witch," and it wasn't sensual harassment because I'm a woman. Like she forgot that lesbians existed and that she was one, not like a closeted one, a full-on had-a-wife lesbian. I was fine just leaving the company, but the phone call ticked me off. I was 22, but apparently not as much of a little witch. They settled within 2 months for a full year's salary and lawyer fees. Now that's what I call a victory. Story 4. I worked for a native casino. The golf courses lost a ton of money for us, as did the advertising for the courses. Food we generally broke even on because of all the comps. If a crime was committed by a dealer, they would watch the dealer for 3 months to see if there were any accomplices. They used facial recognition and would pair match you, so if you were the same person sat with the same dealer over and over, they would know. This way they could look for accomplices. Then when they busted you, they would sit you down and make you watch a video of you breaking the law. They did this because they wanted you to plead guilty as opposed to an expensive trial. Anyone in the golf industry could tell you the first part is absolutely true, even though the golf course increases the value of everything else nearby. Such a weird duality. Story 5. I was on a documentary show on a prestigious documentary network before they turned into reality trash. The camera crew staged everything, managed to start fights among us, filmed it all, and the stuff that they said would never be aired, that they were filming to track various metrics of health, yeah, aired, with commentary. I got called terrible things when the show aired, got violent threats, and according to the very broad terms of the NDA, I couldn't defend myself online. It was such bull. I had to sign one for a court show I went on. The people who approached me and worked with me for the show were sweet and supportive, deceptively, I think now. The judge was a butthole who ignored my evidence and called me names on TV. It was honestly a traumatic experience, and I got threats and insults too. Those poop shows should be banned. Story 6. Signed an NDA when I worked as a fit model for Katy Perry's shoe line. Basically, a fit model is used for their good proportions to test out the fit of garments. I'm a solid size 7.5, so hooray for being average. I was hired on 2 occasions and got to hang out and give her my opinion on the fit, feeling, and comfort of different shoes. Didn't think she'd actually be there, but both times she was present and totally running the show. Super nice woman in person and remembered me when we met again. Also, she apologized for making me wait so long, which I thought was nice. It was a late-night meeting as she'd just wrapped shooting a music video. Her dog is really cute too, and I got to save it when it got stuck behind a wall panel. Story 7. I was an intern at Wells Fargo, and we were grouped with other interns across the U.S. and given a project to work on, aside from our normal intern responsibilities. My group was tasked to look at their current incentive program and the one they were moving to, and then come up with various ways they could be improved. 2 weeks before our presentation, someone way above each of our managers had us shred all our work and sign NDAs. A couple years later, they broke the story about their incentive programs, where employees were opening up fraudulent accounts for customers in order to gain more incentive rewards. Yeah, this is actually really interesting. Story 8. Had to sign an NDA for a secure shipment that came into a building I ran security at, unnamed. Shipment came in at 2 a.m., unmarked transit van. 2 guys had to verify their biometrics and give me the correct password. That was required to deactivate the cameras on the floors along the travel routes they took inside the building and wipe the footage of them entering and leaving. Long play videotapes, so easy to, oops, tape got chewed. They unpacked a set of vases and trundled off to put them in a private vault. Don't know what the frick was in them, but I've seen less security for pallets of precious metal bullion. Story 9. Dell closed all of their in-person kiosk locations in order to get the money to fire the CEO they put in because no one bothered vetting his contract, allowing him to adjust his own pay rate to whatever he wanted, and could only be fired with a $40 million golden parachute bonus. So their choice was to either come up with $40 million ASAP to fire him or go completely bankrupt the very next pay period. So yeah, Dell was almost bankrupt within a single week due to a pirate CEO. That has to be an urban legend. There are laws specifically designed to protect against people sneaking wacky crap into contracts. Story 10. A guy I know was on Cash Cab. A lot of it was faked. He was told he would be on a travel food show and would get picked up by a fake taxi at a certain location at a certain time. There were camera crews all over outside the taxi, and there's no way on earth you might mistake it for a real cab. I always assumed that the contestants knew they were going to be in a cash cab, and their surprised reactions were all fake. If this is true, it's actually a pleasant surprise. Story 11. Worked for a short time as a QA tester at EA and wasn't allowed to talk about the game I was testing, the console port for The Sims 4. There wasn't really much to talk about, but since the first few versions were basically just running the PC version on a console, there were a lot of bugs with it. One of the worst was a lighting bug we started referring to as disco mode, since it caused a bunch of multicolored squares to show up on everything at night or in dark areas. Story 12. Apple 100% replaced the iPhone 4 for users because of poopy antennas. We were instructed to dodge, deflect, and deny this was the issue. Cell phone providers were crap. The phone was a fluke. It didn't matter. Don't admit faults. But if they were there for reception versus water damage, buttons, or battery life, you had to make sure you were swapping them with the newer batch iPhone swaps rather than the typical batch swaps. It was a recall without being a recall, but only if you had reception issues. Story 13. Kraft Macaroni and Cheese are coming out with a more modern and upscale version to expand their market from lower income folks to higher income folks. It is almost entirely the same product as the 69-cent blue box, but will have a lighter, less orangey color. They will be sold as shells and not macaroni. The box will be shaped differently, and it will go for $2.5 or more. stated to be released by 1995. Maybe I'm lower class, but I like it when it's more orange. Story 14. Google doesn't hire direct support employees. They only open small projects in the US, hire up to 250 contract employees of varying support positions for the project. Once they get the stats needed to run everything efficiently, they have mass layoffs and outsource their jobs to a country like the Philippines or India that's willing to accept much less than their US counterpart. At the same time, Google rakes in a huge tax cut because they are creating jobs in the local communities. Story 15. When you chat with Apple support, they're chatting with 2 or 3 other customers at the same time. Also, I'd take myself out of the queue when I'd get connected with one person to chat with because frick that. And one time my manager let it slip that they couldn't tell when someone took themselves out of the queue when they were already engaged with a customer. I took advantage of that crap. Story 16. My sister worked for a high-profile bakery company. They would sell $500 wedding cakes and stuff. When she was hired, she had to sign a crap ton of legal NDA documents. They literally just used instant cake mix from the local grocery store. The cake probably cost about $10 at most to make. I feel like a lot of places are like this. It's probably the design you're paying for. Story 17. There's going to be a Capri Sun sports flavor in roughly 2003. I was a taste tester for Kraft Foods when I was 10. We didn't sign an NDA, but it was supposed to be a secret. They expected you to share it with all your friends to generate grassroots hype. You failed them. Story 18. Amazon made me sign one when I worked with a company that painted their airplanes before the public knew they had them. I did the FAA paperwork. I was literally only one of like 7 people to see their airplane fully purple with their logo on it. I was actually taken off of the project for a day because they thought I lied about not having a Facebook. They meant business. Story 19. Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition had a kick-butt online character builder that made character creation a breeze. It listed all of the possible skills, etc., per race and class that was intuitive and made theory crafting for characters easy. They canned it because it took away from the pen and paper aspect of the game, and they were afraid with an online tool it'd take away from book sales. Story 20. I was a translator, contractor, for the US military. I also translated Marvel comic books. Marvel had tighter security. This does not surprise me. I've worked in aerospace on military contracts most of my professional career. The most restrictive NDA I've had to sign was for a candy bagging machine for a candy company. Story 21. Worked at a matchmaking company. It's all bullcrap. It's just throwing darts at a wall until something sticks. There's no science or magic to it at all. I thought you meant a company that makes literal matches and was confused, figuring that recipe would have been locked down long ago. Story 22. I signed an NDA to become a waitress at a local family-owned restaurant. The owner was nuts, definitely had a severe personality disorder, and was worried about his recipes getting leaked. The restaurant is dead now, and his secret recipes consisted almost solely of frozen packaged food. Story 23. I worked security for a preview screening of Beauty and the Beast like 8 months before it came out. I had to sign an NDA to see Infinity War 2 months early. Everyone broke it instantly once we got back to the lobby. Story 24. Mini Cooper BMW replaced our car because the high-pressure fuel pump failed 6 times within 6 months. However, the recorded reason for the replacement of the car was because of stained interior from dirty mechanic hands, so it wasn't replaced via the Lemon Law. Story 25. In 1990, I signed an NDA at Chili's when they showed me how to make their new Awesome Blossom. No other restaurant in town had anything like it, and it was hugely popular at the time. Story 26. A government in 1972 identified a terrorist by his wife's breasts from satellite images. By God, that woman deserves to know that her breasts are so big they can be seen from space. Story 27. I signed an NDA once when I was an extra on Mortal Engines. If you watch the movie, you'll learn more than I did on set. I watched the movie, understood nothing, so... Story 28. I'm under a Netflix NDA for a few months, so remind me. No. Use a VPN, make a new account, and reply to my comment with the secret. No one will know. Story 29. NDAs expire? I could have sworn I've been asked on annual training type crap how long they last, and the answer is always, frick you, forever. Story 30. Shot a documentary about an episode of Extreme Home Makeover. Couldn't talk about it until it was announced to the family and local community. Story 31. Everyone's posting about their jobs, but what I want to know is what goes down in those celebrity house parties. Drugs, hookups, fights. Story 32. I witnessed the autopsy of a red-rummed 18-month-old child, part of an internship. I decided not to pursue a career in law enforcement. Story 33. Sony got hacked over that North Korea movie because a 5-year-old account they didn't delete or monitor from an ex-employee. Story 34. I was actually an actor in that commercial that said I wasn't. They aren't paid actors because we are not paying them. Story 35. You'll never believe it, but Apple Computer is going to open retail stores. That job sure seems like a promising young fellow. Story 36. We used an extract to flavor our peanut butter porter. God, it feels good to get that off my chest. Please leave your stories in the comments. I'd love to make a video of them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.